Welcome everyone to Grape Finance's weekly AMA. I am here with LB. My name is Nikki. LB, you want to say hi?
Hey everyone, how you going? Good to be here. Thanks for listening in.
Yeah, definitely. It's an easy crowd, not a lot of people, also not a lot of questions. We were already discussing this.
Mm,
The very fact that there is not a lot going on this time of year.
mm,
But we still want to provide the AMA, of course, and
yeah.
therefore here we are. We do have some questions, starting with Peter Flea. It's an upvoted question as well. He says, Yo fam, missed asking this past weekend. So, LB, if we pivot to another pack idea, can you honestly see Grape moving back up to $1? Could Grape become the Vinium token? Is that possible? Or you need Grape to get Vinium token? I don't really know what he means by that, but okay, only way is to stake Grape to get it. Just some thoughts. Thanks for still being here, and the next 6 months will be a bitch, as I'm sure you know, but amped for Q3 and 4 2023. Long-term view, I like it. All
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Yeah, well, I guess I mean what we'd do if we're going to make Grape a stablecoin is we'd do some sort of migration or a path where, we can uh transition to a different stablecoin, which would be great, but it would be like the next uh evolution of Grape. Because the idea of if we want to make it a stable coin that's collateralized or has some sort of backing to it that's not fully algorithmic, then we would likely need to change some aspects of the code, like how we can mint the token and things like that. Because right now, only the treasury contract can mint it only under certain circumstances. Like it's not flexible right now because we are announced. So we would have to make a new token essentially, and then migrate to that. In other words, or have some sort of transition to that for a collateralized stablecoin. And I mean that would be a way we can tie it in with Vinium very nicely because lending protocols uh, have the option. They do great when you have a stable coin that can be minted from it, because then you can have it for basically zero interest or very low interest. You know what I mean? When you have when you're relying on other uh, when you're relying on things like USDC for people to put USDC in and whatnot to then borrow it, the interest rates obviously determined by the utilization, which can spike quite rapidly, which leads to high costs of borrowing stablecoins. But the benefit of tying in a stablecoin to the platform as well that we own is that we can have very low interest. In fact, effectively 0% interest, or a small percent interest for like some sort of stability fee. In other words, but I would still like to keep but the ability to borrow other stablecoins and other coins as well, because it's very flexible that way. Um, But the other downside to having our own stablecoin is that you need liquidity, you need to manage the peg um, uh, in a way that ensures trust of the token, and then um, the main hurdle really is you need liquidity for it. We kind of already do have liquidity for Grape, which is a bit of a bonus there. So I mean, in terms of it being the Vinium token would be more of a rewards token uh, and revenue share token for the platform. So I mean, you couldn't really have a stablecoin be that. Um, the Vinium token will be its own thing, where it's rewarding LPs and it's the liquidity providers of the system, which is important for growing the TVL of the platform, which makes it useful. So that has its own use case, which is needed for that. That we couldn't really replace with Grape directly. It wouldn't make sense, but Grape would be tied in a way where we can have it, be a collateralized stablecoin in the system.
Yeah, and you say that Vinium is going to be used for revenue sharing, and you wanted to do revenue sharing over wine holders. So that would interact then, I guess, as that the revenue sharing provides value to the Vinium token, and then the Vinium token gets provided to wine stakers. Or is that kind of the idea, or how does that work?
We can definitely do it that way. I mean, it's not set in stone because we haven't uh, released the token itself yet.
Mm.
So I mean, initially we'd probably share revenue amongst both, and then possibly, wine stakers may get an extra share of this token as well, or there would be some unlock, some essentially quick unstake fees that can come back around to wine holders as well. So there's a few ways we can loop it in nicely together, and I mean that's a reasonable option as well to have that implemented.
All right, all right. And then the other question that he asked was, do you see grape coming back up to $1? And I have something about that where I was surprised. Like I saw so much potential in the collateralization of Xgrape, and I thought everyone and their mother is going to use this. Like why would you not want to uh, borrow 50 up to 50% or at least close to it on your Xscrape and then use that liquidity again?
Mm.
But I just checked and barely anyone is using it. Like it's
Well, I can see. Yeah,
almost
saw
unused.
today we've got like 11, almost 12K worth of X scrape in there, and that's not from the DAO. The DAO is like $14 of X scrape deposited in,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so people have deposited, but they haven't
they haven't
borrowed
borrowed.
against it.
Yeah. So I mean,
Right.
if you've only deposited, well then like you don't lose anything, but you don't get any benefit from it really because there's no deposit interest. You're already earning interest on X scrape from the
Yeah.
vineyard. So I mean, the idea if you actually want to make use of it, you should borrow some MIM or USDC and then utilize that stable coin either to buy more or in some other farm or for some other purpose.
Yeah, and I really had expected for people to really run for that. I was even thinking, hey, maybe I can add some like I've put up my X-rate there and borrowed against it, but I
Mm.
was even thinking, hey, if a lot of people are going to do that, there's going to be some pretty good interest on those
Mm-hmm.
stablecoins, right? Those that
Yeah,
MIN, that
yeah.
USDC, and I would make use of that, but I'm looking and people are barely using it. So that interest, well, I just suppose we'll keep it at where it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really surprised because I do think that if people start utilizing that and maybe leverage their X-ray positions, then it would be a fairly quick road to at least a good increase of the grape price. I just don't really see why that's not happening, but maybe in the chat people can tell me um, if they have an idea. I'll be reading that later.
I mean,
Do
I think
you?
it's still early. I think it's around that time of year as well where a lot of people have kind of just gone on holidays. They're not really in the market,
Yeah,
that sort of deal. So but it's still that there's still 12K of X scrape in there, and maybe like thousand
that's
dollars
good.
borrowed. I mean, that's the people that are already there, they should borrow more to make use of it.
Yeah,
So I mean,
exactly. All right, but and then if there's going to be a stable coin, which might or might not be called Grape or have a different name or whatever, would that stable coin be borrowable against X Grape or how would that be? Because that's also an option.
I mean that may be the case. I mean, we want to if we're going to have a stablecoin, we'd want to limit, exactly what you can use as collateral for it, or we'd have some, higher requirements for certain types of collateral, just for,
Right.
peg protection, in other words, of that stablecoin. So I think initially it would mainly be, the blue chip coins, and then we can
Makes
possibly,
sense.
have a smaller section that is, used for the higher risk, lower liquidity tokens as well, which can be yielding too, which is always nice. Kind of like a Abracadabra MIM sort of deal. And you've seen how
Yeah, that's
they've
what.
really limited risk this year. They used to have, memo as like a major thing, and then they're like, nah, we can't do this. It's not. If we want to actually survive as a stablecoin, we can't have like some hyperinflationary,
Yeah,
uh,
they
you
they
know,
got
Dow
they
coin.
got burned by the whole 99 thing. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
harsh on them. All right. Peter Flea is also asking when wines take his Vinium fees. I I see that can only be relevant in bull with marketing. Yeah, well, I think revenue is already being collected. It's just not a lot
Hmm.
because there's not a lot of tokens on the platform, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all based on the borrow, and the rates of that, and first of all, we have to come down to the thing of there's no token emissions right now for the platform, so that obviously limits the dollar value of, revenue collected. Uh, and, it's a real yield thing. Like, we're actually providing a service. There's a yield from that, but that's entirely based on TVL of the platform, and, the idea is to then boost that. We can boost that through token incentives, in other words. But at the same time, the fees are being collected. You can see them in the multi sig, and,
Mhm.
I think that revenue based models, work in all markets. They work in bear markets too. I mean, they work really well in bear markets, because people look for less risky yield. They look for, yield that is not, high inflation yield. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's a good play there, but at the same time, any sort of real yield is nothing like you would maybe be almost used to if you've been in the kind of degen
the
space,
1% the 1% per
exactly.
day kind of yield.
You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to get 1% a day in, stable coins and blue chip coins, uh, in any real yield platform. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's not doesn't make any sense. You're probably going to get, you can look at, GLPs, roughly 20% yield, which is great, fantastic yield.
Hmm.
You look at, compared to, uh, traditional finance, but at the same time, you are taking on some price risk, and also, you're basically, the casino, where you're kind of, betting against traders winning, over the long time, which generally happens, but, you know there's still risk involved in there. It's not just like staking stable coins and getting, more stable coins, and that's 20%, which is really good, but at the same time, that's not, nowhere near 1% a day.
No, no, no. It's fairly different. I do think yields can be higher than 20%. Also, real
Hmm.
yields if there's a lot of platforms, for example, that are used that provide services, and all of the revenue sharing from all of those platforms is combined into one token or something like that.
Hmm.
That would work. That would
Hmm.
work. But yeah, I do get you. It's definitely not going to be 1% a day, but that's insane even.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Now we've got a really very real question here. When's Santa coming?
I don't know. Have you been a good boy?
Saint, have you been a good
Uh,
boy?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's case by case basis.
All right, all right, yeah. Well, let's hope that Saint got to sit on Santa's lap this year. All right, moving on. Also from Saint. Hey, LB. I posted a thought in suggestions. It would be a response to winemaker tools. Any way we can build a function to burn/upgrade/combine vintner tools, thinking either receive an upgraded tool, maybe for limited use, or maybe a VPM bonus for a limited time, or some sort of ticket system kind of gamified. Burn tools, vintners, grapes, vintage to earn points. Redeem points for VPM bonuses or limited run tool upgrades, and maybe even skill upgrades for 50% off or something. So a lot of ideas for winemaker.
No, definitely. No, I like these. This is something that we've kind of thrown around. The burning tools, because we do have a lot of older. We have quite a few of the hydrometers and quite a few of the other two tools. The other two tiers, and then the corkers are kind of limited, which we would want to model. But the problem is we have too many other tools. So a way we can work around that is obviously using them to burning them to upgrade, burning them for some sort of bonus. So we've definitely thrown this around. That's something that we're likely going to do, but we'd probably need to remodel the contracts and how the game works, because it's not really flexible directly in the way the tools work right now. Which is, I mean, it's all possible, and the good thing about a game is that it's kind of it is more flexible just by being a game in itself, than compared to some sort of DeFi specific app. But yeah, so this is something that we're definitely going to work on with the game, unique things like that, and for that to happen though, we do need to upgrade the contract structure, which is also something we're working on, and there'll be quite a few upgrades with that. So that's something that will come in the new year.
Cool stuff. And then we move on to Q3, Q4, as Peter Flee said. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Chenkel, Need X Grape says, are we still getting X Grape Press and winemaker updates as Christmas gifts?
X-ray press. Uh,
Did,
you mean like a
was that even
migration?
in the?
I don't know. We already have the X-ray soda press. Is basically X-ray
Yeah,
press.
that's
Um,
Grape X Grape, right?
yeah, yeah. And yeah, there'll be a migration for that. Um, and possibly some sort of well, for the LP nodes. And the winemaker, the corkers are actually going to do the auction today after this AMA. We'll launch an auction. It's going to be hosted on OpenSea initially, just because they have the ability to have both, pretty sure, Dutch auction and the regular auction. So I'm gonna mint maybe 20-30 corkers, and I'm gonna post them up on OpenSea auctions, and there'll be half of them will be a Dutch auction variant, where it starts at a high price and it goes down until someone buys it at a price that they see fit. And then an auction where it's the regular type of auction where you bid, and they'll run for about 7 days, and it's kind of like a test run with about 30 corkers, and then there's another, I think, 120 that I want to mint as well. And if this goes well, then we'll follow the same structure. We'll adjust from there. So yeah, I'll make an announcement on that soon.
Cool. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And well, these Dutch auctions will definitely be interesting. I hope people are really willing to get them. So that should improve the hype. Okay. Hey LB, is it possible if we can mint raisins from pure vintage? So far, I've been selling a lot of vintage to make raisins from vintage mint pair, and this is then resulting in creating a constant sell pressure towards vintage. Or can we implement something like rewarding raisins in Enotica instead? This is neat
Uh,
vintage, by the way.
yeah, that last part is something that needs to be adjusted too. So we'll probably do that. where you can earn it for being an LP, and I do need to adjust the raise in price. I actually don't mind that you're using vintage, selling half of it for LP, because then you mint it and you give the LP to the treasury, and then we can do price control with that actually. So it's not too bad. I don't mind that. And so the last part is something that we'll implement, but there needs to be a bit of a transition. So that's kind of why it's a little bit annoying for some people, because there needs to be a transition from when we stop the rewards currently to then giving the other rewards. So there's a few days for that, but there'll be an announcement on that soon as well.
All right. Then Mark Lams had an idea about some more educational videos, but I've asked a question about that and he's typing, so I'm moving on to the next one and getting back to him. Chenkel says, I'd say releasing Grape MIM nodes could be a factor to borrow more on Vinium. I'm personally waiting for it. So would that be waiting for Grape MIM nodes and then use the revenue from that to borrow against, or what's the idea here? Do you get it, Albie?
I mean, he's saying the next one, migration from Grape MIM,
Yeah.
to the press, I guess. I mean, we couldn't use the press in sort of collateral, because of they're basically illiquid there. Would make it difficult to liquidate. But you would get. I mean, I guess the daily return would be better than a Great MIM node now. So you'd have more to utilize on a daily amount. If that's what you mean.
Yeah. Let's see what they mean. They're both typing, like both Mark and Chenko are typing, so I'm kind of waiting for that. So that means we've also already had all of the standardized AMA questions while they're typing. Do you have? Oh, wait, it's here they come. Let's get on with it. All right. Mark says, like I asked, like, are you missing anything about the educational videos? Because he was suggesting more educational videos regarding Vinium. And well, I wondered because I thought I kind of covered everything. And this is his answer. Like, I still think it's early days for Vinium, so just a bit of marketing is required. Not implying that we spend money on marketing, but maybe just more word of mouth is required by the community sharing the video more. Maybe we could have a coordinated Twitter push. Oh, all right. Well, yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's different from making more educational videos. It's just sharing what we already have, right? That would be awesome.
Definitely.
Um, well, are you planning to coordinate any such thing, or telling someone to go and do that?
We will do that. Yeah. I don't think we've I don't think we shared the videos recently. I think that's something that we'll need to blast on the Twitter there.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, they are there. It's a nice playlist.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of clear, and if people do think that there is anything that still needs to be talked about in any kind of video, or that if there, if things are unclear, I can always just check if I can add anything or make it more complete. But
Yeah.
so far, I thought it's pretty complete. Okay. He also says we can do it all and just get RTs, etc. What are RTs?
Retweets.
Oh, retweets, of course. I feel old. All right. Um, Chenkel says, if my grape mim is on the press, I can use more of it to put on Vinium and then borrow.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so
I get what you mean. Yeah, if the drip is more, you get more daily.
yeah, and then borrow against what comes out of it. Okay, cool. Then we have someone I've not seen before. Dominican investor says, in case I missed it, what is the use case for the Caucus OpenSea auction, and where can I learn more about it? Also, even though the grape price is suffering, are we going to continue to receive airdrops in the future? And he's typing more, but I'm
Hmm.
not there yet.
Yeah. Well, the corkers were for the winemaker game. They're the best tool that you can get right now. We did
Yeah.
a very small mint before, and they minted out very quick, which means that instead of doing another mint, I'm just going to mint them, and then I'm going to auction them off. So there's a little bit more of a, you know, a fair, like it's not a rush. It's not like a luck of a draw or a rush or a kind of a gas war to win the auction. If you want, if you actually want to win the auction, you have about a week to take part in the auction. And there'll be two different types to see what people like as well. So it's just a way to kind of distribute the corkers in what I think is probably a fairer way than a mint that's very limited. So
So,
I'm gonna try it.
so basically, what you're saying is, instead of just putting them up for mint and first come first served, it's more like an auction, which is in a way fairer.
Hmm.
Like if you want it, you just pay more.
Yeah.
That's well, I get that. Okay. And his
Oh,
second question was,
yeah.
and even though the grape price is suffering, are we going to continue to receive airdrops in the future?
At the moment, uh, no, because there's not really much grape in that in the in sort of 'cause you know what we did with the original nodes is that we had um about 10% of the nodes all nodes created going to the NFT pool. Um, and that did really well for a while. We had a ridiculous amount of money being airdropped,
Yeah,
absolutely
that was
insane.
good.
Um,
That was those
uh,
were good times.
yeah, but in the sort of obviously we've cut out some of the nodes. Some of the nodes like the remaining nodes aren't really being made very often, and the new grape node as well. There was a different mechanism where I didn't take a cut. I actually give it back to the pool so that the pool can grow um,
Mm.
more than more than it is taken out. In other words, because on the other one, that extra 10% isn't included in the node pool, so it gets taken out from the node pool and given out to NFTs. Whereas in this one, that 10% goes back to the pool, so there is no 10% in other words. So in other words, the last airdrop we did was like 100,000 grapes. Will probably be the last one for a little while until we kind of make a new mechanism for that we can kind of reward um, NFT holders in a way that we can actually, because right now all the grapes going to the node pool, in other words. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Dominican investor makes clear that he's not new, or they are not new. I don't know if it's he or she, but they're not new. Was just too busy to participate. I love Grape and the team. My number one underdog in the bear market. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks
I
guys.
mean, we definitely try to just keep on going and make it good. And so it also says, so what I'm hearing is airdrops, they're not dead, they just need a new funding mechanism. Yeah, basically
Hmm.
this is what it is, right? We've just not been doing so well in the last half year. I don't think we're alone in that.
Hmm.
Not a lot of things have been doing very well in the last half year or so. Uh,
Hmm.
like even
Yeah.
stocks and any kind of crypto, it's all
Oof.
just been terrible. Yeah, it really it really doesn't matter where you are. So we're not really taking it personally. However,
Mm.
once we start doing well again, of course, there will be airdrops.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Mark also says, yeah, Grape team is the best. Thank you for all you do. Well, thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
It's really appreciated. And then I think I'm gonna take this as the last question because there's just not a lot of people and it's kind of quiet. What's your view on wine PA after emissions end? And PA
Um,
would be
Price action, likely.
price action. Ah, of course. I'm so bad at these abbreviations.
Well, I think, obviously, after wine emissions end is a big thing on inflation. Inflation is obviously a big thing to do with price depreciation. So that will be it'll be obviously a big thing for obviously we can't say for the price, so I don't know how the market's going to go in this next sort of few months anyway. But at the same time, no more emissions is always a good thing for any token. Uh, and there may be some price action with that based on that, based on even the idea that now there is no more emissions. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um,
Like the only way to get them now is to buy them. Not
mhm,
not yet, but in a few weeks,
mhm.
will be that,
Yeah,
and that is a difference. That's a big difference.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay. So the idea is that we'll be going up, um, but we'll see what actually happens.
Hmm.
Okay. I think I'm gonna end it here. Do you have anything you want to say before the end of the year? Before we have our new AMA in the next year?
Yeah, yeah. I guess we'll have uh the next AMA. I don't know. We'll talk and see when's good for both of us.
Yeah,
But
of course.
it'll probably be in the week again because Sunday's the first. I don't know, but we'll figure that out. But yeah. Anyway, like what a crazy year! Like pretty insane year to have launched Grape. At the beginning, essentially at the beginning of the end of the law market. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and we caught the last tail of it, and we had a really good run there, which is great for us in a way that it shows that we definitely have what it takes to succeed in this sort of market. We learnt a lot in this sort of year too.
Oh
Had
yeah.
incredible amount, and I'm pretty excited for the next year. Obviously, regardless of the market, it will definitely turn around. I'm not exactly sure where, but that's kind of irrelevant to be honest, because we all we need to do now is we kind of just need to continue what we're doing and build out the things that we need to build out that we've said we're going to build out, and then run them. You know, take what we've learned from Grape, running Grape this year, and kind of building it up, basically from nothing. One of the top forks in the tomb space, and definitely on AVAX too. And I think we can take that and those lessons, and we can really really position ourselves in a great spot for not only the next bull market, but kind of just in DeFi in general. I think we can move away from a sort of real degen zone into more something that can actually last for a long time in DeFi. And eventually, what I would like to do is kind of transition to a full decentralization where you don't even need like a core team behind the project, where we can actually have core contributors and things like that, but really be as decentralized as possible. That's kind of where I would like to go in a few years.
Mm.
I think that's definitely
Yeah,
possible.
yeah, yeah.
I think and it's really kind of the ethos of crypto in general. But
Yeah, to move away from decisions made by you as our benevolent dictator, and move. Yeah, because
yeah,
that's kind of what you do, right? You
yeah,
just try and do the best for everyone, and we advise you in that, and we do some things, and
yeah,
we take suggestions. But in the future, it would be good, indeed, if things just go by voting, and
hmm
it's all in the hands of the community. I totally second that, and as for this year, I kind of see it as well, in the past, in the old Wild West, you had the gold rush, right? And when people came to some kind of place where gold was found, it was suddenly a bustling city with all kinds of
yeah,
rackety buildings and everyone just
yeah.
running around, and a whole lot of business until that particular place was devoid of gold, and
hmm
then it turned into sort of a ghost town.
hmm
Um, and what we're doing now is actually trust that we will find gold again.
hmm
We just have to dig a little deeper and build that ghost town with barely anyone in it into a solid infrastructure, so that when all of the all of the masses return on basis of our newfound gold, that they'll actually have a good place to live, and that we can actually get somewhere. It's a
Yeah.
nice little way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Penny Bear also says, proud to have been here with you guys for the last few months for sure. Here's to more adventures. And
Yeah,
Neat Wine says,
exactly.
thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bandy.
Um,
Thanks to all the mods as well and all, the whole team. You know, it's been kind of stressful at times, fast paced
yeah,
a lot of the times. But you know, it's been an incredible year overall, and you know, I think we have a really solid team and a really solid mod group as well. That you know, I think we can do a lot of cool things with.
definitely. And I do also second that we've learned a lot and
Yeah.
are only here to make it better.
hmm
So cool. With that said, I'm going to end it. And well, see all of you in the new year.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, everyone.